The void between the stars was silent. For 1,000 years, no ship had dared to enter the Sol system. The old maps marked it in red: Forbidden Sector, a dead place, a graveyard of the species once called human. But that night something changed. The exploration vessel Orion drifted quietly through deep space. Its metallic hull shimmered against the light of distant suns. Inside, the crew moved with routine calm, scanning, recording, mapping. Then the silence broke. "Commander Xylan, I'm picking up something strange," said Officer Luria, her four-fingered hands tapping across glowing control panels. "It's old. A radio frequency, analog band, origin, Sol system." The bridge grew still. Commander Xylan, tall and sharp-eyed, turned slowly from the observation window. His scales glowed faintly under the ship's blue light. "That system is dead," he said firmly. "No signals should exist there." "I know, sir," Luria replied, her voice trembling. "But this one's real. It's weak, repeating, like a heartbeat." A quiet pulse echoed through the speakers. Static, then a faint tone, then static again. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. No one had ever heard a signal from that direction in a millennium. Xylan stepped closer to the console. "Amplify it." The sound grew louder. The static twisted, then formed a rhythmic pattern, repeating again and again. Like an encoded message. "It's not natural," murmured Technician Hall. "It's made by intelligence." The commander's jaw tightened. "Wrote it through the translation matrix." Lines of alien code scrolled across the display. The ship's AI struggled, grinding through forgotten languages, trying to translate what no one had spoken in ages. After several seconds, the AI's voice spoke, cold and uncertain. Language unrecognized, possibly human origin. A silence followed. Even the ship's engines seemed to hush. The word human felt like a ghost's whisper. For centuries, every alien child had grown up hearing the same story. Humanity, the ancient monsters of the old war, had destroyed themselves. Their world burned, their fleets vanished, and their name was erased from the records. No one ever returned to check, until now. "Commander, should we mark the source as interference and move on?" asked Hal. His voice shook slightly. "We don't want trouble from the Council. Sail is forbidden for a reason." Xylan's eyes narrowed. He was not one for superstition. He believed in proof, in truth. "No," he said. "Set a course toward the signal. I want to know what's making it." The bridge crew hesitated, but no one argued. Orders were orders. The ship turned. The engines hummed. The Orion slipped through the blackness, following the weak pulse of the ancient signal. Hours passed. The stars outside changed shape as the ship neared the forgotten system. The Sol Star appeared, dimmer now, older, surrounded by drifting debris. "Entering outer perimeter," Luria reported. "Asteroid density rising." "Most of this is metal fragments. Burned satellites, wreckage. The view screen filled with ruins, broken machines, shattered hulls, torn pieces of ships that once sailed under the human banner. It looked like a floating graveyard. Then, through the wreckage, they found it. A fragment of an ancient satellite, still pulsing with faint blue light. "It's broadcasting," Luria whispered. "Lock on and analyze," Xylan ordered. The Orion's scanners hummed, pulling data from the broken relic. "Sir," Hal said, voice trembling. "It's transmitting in multiple bands, digital, analog, encrypted, all overlapping. I've never seen anything like it." "Try decoding it," said Xylan. "I'm trying," but Hal frowned. "The encryption, it's complex. It's rewriting itself faster than we can read." Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered. The power core stuttered. "Energy surge!" shouted Luria. "It's hacking into our systems." The command deck plunged into darkness. Alarms wailed through the corridors. "Shut it down," Xylan barked. "Cut all external connections." But it was too late. The speakers hissed, filled with static. Then through the distortion a voice spoke. A human voice, soft, low, terrifyingly clear. "You left us here." Every crew member froze. "Who said that?" Hal whispered. The voice came again, and angrier this time. "You left us here to die," Luria screamed as her console sparked. The lights exploded into blinding white. Then everything went silent again. Total blackout. Only the hum of emergency lights remained. When the systems rebooted, the bridge was filled with smoke and confusion. Xylan coughed, brushing ash from his uniform. "Report." "Navigation down." shouted Lurea. "Engines offline for 30 seconds. Communication channels corrupted," Harl added. "Whatever that signal was, it infected us. It knew our systems." Xylan's cold blood ran colder. "Are you saying the signal was alive?" I don't know, sir, but it was reacting. It responded to us." The commander stared at the view screen. Outside, the debris field drifted like silent witnesses. The broken satellite still blinked. One slow, steady pulse, and then it stopped. No light, no signal, nothing, just emptiness. Minutes passed before anyone spoke again. Finally, Lurea whispered, "Sir, if that was a human transmission—" Xylan cut her off. "It can't be. They're extinct." "But something spoke, Commander," she said softly. "Something alive." The bridge went quiet again. The sound of the ship's engines slowly stabilized. Filling the silence with a low hum, Xylan turned to the window, looking out at the pale blue dot far ahead. A planet covered in clouds and ruin, Earth. It had been 1,000 years since anyone saw it. He felt a strange unease crawl through him, a feeling he didn't understand, fear or curiosity. "Maybe both. Set course for the planet," he said finally. Lurea hesitated. "Commander, that's against Dominion law." "No ship, do it," he said, voice firm. "If something still lives there, we need to know what." She nodded slowly and entered the coordinates. The ship turned toward the dead world, engines glowing bright blue. Through the window, Earth grew larger, its shape cutting through the darkness. Clouds moved slowly across its surface, like the planet was breathing. Xylan whispered under his breath, "If humans are gone, then who? Just spoke to us?" No one answered. The Orion vanished into the black void, heading straight for the lost home of mankind. And far below, deep under Earth's silent crust, a buried light flickered to life, waiting. The Orion emerged from hyperspace in total silence. Before them floated the forgotten planet, Earth. It looked nothing like the images stored in the Dominion archives. Once bright blue and alive, now it was a sphere of ash and mist, wrapped in thick clouds that glowed faintly from lightning storms below. Commander Xylan stood at the bridge window, his scales reflecting the dim light. "So this is where they fell," he murmured. No one spoke. The ship's scanners swept across the atmosphere, feeding endless data streams onto the console. Officer Lurea frowned at the readings. "Radiation levels low. Ecosystem stable but uninhabited. Yet, there's something strange." "Define strange," Xylan said. "Energy signatures, faint, buried under the crust. Not natural." The crew exchanged worried glances. Technician Harl added, "Also, mechanical remains everywhere. Orbit cluttered with dead satellites. It's like a metal fog around the planet." Xylan nodded. "Bring us closer. Let's see what's left of the humans." The Orion descended through the debris field. Shattered pieces of space stations drifted by. Rusted panels, frozen bodies, broken symbols that once represented nations. The ship's lights illuminated fragments marked with words in the lost human language. Some of the crew whispered superstitiously, believing ghosts haunted this place. The ship entered the upper atmosphere. The turbulence made the hull groan. Flames licked the viewports as they passed through the thick clouds. Then the world appeared below. It was hauntingly beautiful. Nature had taken everything back. Forests grew over collapsed cities. Rivers cut through the skeletons of skyscrapers. The oceans shone like black glass under dim sunlight, but there were no lights, no signs of civilization, just silence. "Scan for settlements," Xylan ordered. "None detected," Lurea said quietly. "Only ruins, though there's a large power reading beneath the surface near what was once called New York." "Power?" "Yes, Commander. Still active. It's ancient but stable. Whatever it is, it's awake." Xylan's eyes darkened. "Prepare drones. They want visuals." The drones launched from the ship like silver arrows, diving through the clouds. The crew watched as live feeds appeared on the screens. Broken towers, overgrown streets, massive trees sprouting through concrete. Cars buried in vines, skeletons of bridges stretching into nothing. "This was once a world of billions," Harl whispered. "And now it's just gone." "Not gone," Xylan said softly. "Changed." One of the drones picked up movement, a faint shimmer of blue light beneath the rubble. It zoomed in. The camera focused on a circular structure buried deep underground, half collapsed but still humming with energy. The design was unlike anything the Arkan Dominion had ever seen. Metal fused with crystal, pulsing rhythmically. That's the source, Lurea confirmed. Energy output rising slightly. It might be reacting to our presence. Send one drone inside, Xylan ordered. The small machine descended into the ruins, weaving through cracks and tunnels. The walls bore markings. Human words faded but still visible. United Earth Defense. Deeper it went until the camera caught a massive chamber filled with strange machines. Dozens of cylindrical pods lined the walls, broken, empty, covered in dust. "What is this place?" Harl muttered. Before anyone could answer, the drone's feed began to flicker. The signal broke into static, then cleared again. In the center of the chamber, a large console flickered to life. A hologram appeared, glowing white-blue, shaped like a human figure made of light. Its face was unreadable. Then it spoke, voice echoing through the ship's speakers. "Identify yourselves," the crew froze. "It's alive." Lura gasped. "That's impossible." "Try communication," Xylan said. "This is Commander Xylan of the Arkan Dominion. We mean no harm. Identify yourself." The hologram paused. Then it said, "I am Sentinel, Guardian of the Vault. Designation, Earth Defense AI." The voice was calm but carried weight, like it had spoken to kings long ago. "Vault?" Xylan asked. "What vault?" "The Vault of Humanity," Sentinel replied. "Your presence here is unauthorized. Leave now." The temperature on the bridge seemed to drop. "Humanity is extinct," Xylan said. "There is no one left to guard." The hologram's eyes flared bright white. "Incorrect," it said coldly. "Humanity sleeps." The crew stared at the screen, speechless. Sentinel continued, "You are trespassing on sacred ground. Leave before the awakening begins." The feed suddenly glitched, the hologram vanishing in static. "Signal lost," Harl shouted. Drone feed cut off. What happened? "Unknown energy surge." The drones destroyed. Alarms rang through the Orion. Power flickered for a second, then stabilized. Xylan clenched his jaw. "The AI, whatever that thing is, it's still protecting something." Lurea's voice trembled. "Sir, the power readings under the surface, they're increasing fast. Something's activating down there." "Back us away to high orbit," Xylan commanded. The ship's engines roared, pulling them upward through the clouds. From space, the crew watched as a massive circular structure beneath Earth's crust began to glow faintly, visible even through the thick clouds. "It's opening," Lurea whispered. A beam of white light shot from the surface into the sky, piercing the darkness like a signal flare to the stars. "Commander, what do we do?" Harl asked. Xylan's voice was quiet but firm. "We observe. We find out what's waking up." The bridge fell silent as they stared down at the ancient world. The pulse from below echoed through their ship's sensors like a heartbeat, slow, steady, alive. Sentinel's last words repeated in Xylan's mind. "Humanity sleeps." He didn't know what it meant, but every instinct in his body screamed that whatever lay beneath that planet was not meant to be found. He turned to his crew, his voice low. "Record everything. No one outside this ship hears of this until I say so." "Understood, Commander," Lurea said, though her eyes never left the glowing planet. Far below, the vault's light grew stronger, cutting through storm and shadow. Something ancient had been waiting for this moment, something that remembered. Something that still called itself human. And as the Orion drifted silently above the dying Earth, a cold wind swept across the empty cities below, carrying with it a whisper that no alien ear could truly understand. A whisper that said, "Welcome back." The light from Earth's surface faded after several hours, but the signal never stopped. Deep beneath the planet's crust, something mechanical moved. The Orion stayed in orbit, its crew silent, watching from above. Commander Xylan paced the bridge, his claws tapping the metal floor in steady rhythm. "The signal hasn't changed?" he asked. "No, sir," replied Officer Luria. "It's consistent, same pulse, same pattern. It's almost like a heartbeat." "That AI sentinel," Xylan muttered. "It said humanity sleeps. Maybe it meant literally." He turned to Harl. "Can we send another drone?" "Already preparing one, Commander," the technician answered. "Heavier armor, stronger signal encryption. If something down there tries to interfere again, we'll still have visuals." Xylan nodded. "Deploy it." The second drone dropped through Earth's atmosphere, slicing through the thick clouds like a burning comet. It descended into the ruins of what once was New York City, a wasteland of stone and steel covered by forests. The drone's camera captured toppled skyscrapers wrapped in roots, huge vines crawling over monuments that had once symbolized power. The streets were empty, silent except for wind. "I have visual," Lurea said, approaching the previous coordinates. The drone hovered above the same crater where Sentinel first appeared. This time the ground below was open. The light had faded, replaced by a dark hole leading into the depths. "Entering the vault," Harl said. The drone lowered itself through the hole. The walls were metal, ancient human construction, but still solid after 1,000 years. Symbols and warnings were written in human text along the walls. "Caution, cryonic storage, property of Earth Defense Command." "Cryonic storage?" Lyra whispered. "That means parties." The drone's lights illuminated a vast underground complex. Rows upon rows of pods lined the floor. Tens of thousands, maybe more, each shaped like glass coffins glowing faintly from within. "Are they occupied?" Xylan asked. "Most are empty," Hal replied. "Power cells long dead, but wait, one of them is active." The feed zoomed in. There in the center of the massive chamber, one pod flickered with blue light. Its readout still pulsed with energy. On its side, faded letters spelled out a name, Commander Elara Grant. "A human," Lurea breathed. "Still alive?" Xylan's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. Nothing biological could survive for 1,000 years. And yet the readings are clear," Hal said, voice shaking. "Vitals are weak but stable. The pod's life support is self-sustaining, drawing from an independent power source." "What about the AI?" Xylan asked. "No sign of Sentinel's presence." Just as he said it, the drone's systems flickered. The holographic image of Sentinel appeared again, glowing brighter this time. "You were warned," it said. "This chamber is not for outsiders." "We're not here to harm," Xylan replied calmly. "We only seek knowledge." "Who is the one inside that pod?" Sentinel hesitated. Its eyes dimmed for a second before answering. "She is the key to humanity's return. The last general of the Defense Forces. Elara Grant, protector of Earth." "She's human," Xylan said. "And you're keeping her alive after all this time?" "I was built to guard her until the stars remember humanity again," Sentinel said. "And now they have." Before Xylan could respond, the pod began to glow brighter. Energy surged through the chamber. "Commander!" Lurea shouted. "Power reading spiking! The pod's awakening sequence is active. Shut it down," Xylan ordered. "Now!" "I can't. Signal interference is overriding control," Hal yelled. The drone's visuals shook violently. Steam hissed inside the vault as the cryo chamber unlocked. The glass lid opened with a low hiss, releasing a cloud of frost. A figure lay inside, a woman pale as snow, her body covered in faint scars, her uniform still intact. Slowly, her eyes opened. "Bright blue, human, alive. Impossible," Xylan whispered. The drone's speakers caught a weak sound. Her voice, dry, broken, yet commanding. "Status report." The AI Sentinel turned toward her. "Awakening confirmed, Commander Grant. Temporal passage, 1,012 years. External contact established." She sat up weakly, her breath visible in the cold air. "Who are they?" she asked, staring at the drone camera. Her voice hardened instantly. "That's not human tech." "No, ma'am," Sentinel said. "They are outsiders," she frowned. "Then the war isn't over." The transmission cut abruptly as a shockwave hit the drone. "Signal lost," Hal shouted. "The power surge, our systems are crashing." Lights on the bridge flickered violently, alarms screaming. "What's happening?" Luria yelled. "Unknown feedback loop, originating from the surface," Hal replied. "The vault's power grid is linking to our systems." Xylan grabbed the console. "Pull us back! Get us out of orbit now!" The ship's engines fired, forcing the Orion upward. Energy waves rippled through the atmosphere like lightning storms. The clouds below swirled violently, as if the planet itself was waking. "Commander," Luria said in a trembling voice, "the human life signs, there are more now." "More?" "Yes, dozens of pods reactivating across the planet. It's spreading." Xylan stared out the viewport, jaw tight. The clouds over Earth glowed faintly with lines of blue light spreading like veins. "Her global network," he whispered. "It's waking up all of them." "Sir," Harl said nervously. The Dominion will execute us for this. Entering the forbidden system, interacting with pre-war technology. The Dominion can wait, Xilen cut in sharply. What's down there is beyond any law. We just awakened something ancient. He turned back toward the planet, watching the faint glow grow brighter. Somewhere below, Commander Elara Grant stood for the first time in 1,000 years. She looked up at the ceiling of the vault, her body trembling but her eyes burning with focus. "Sentinel," she said, her voice regaining strength. "Report enemy presence." "Foreign vessel detected in orbit," the AI answered. "Arkan Dominion class." "They found us." "Then they know too much," Elara whispered. "Activate the network." Full reinitialization. The vault lights exploded into brilliance. Thousands of machines across the underground city roared to life. The pulse from Earth grew tenfold. From orbit, the crew of the Orion watched in stunned silence as entire continents shimmered with light beneath the clouds. "Sir," Lurea whispered, "this looks like an awakening protocol." Xilen said nothing. He knew it was. Humanity, long thought dead, was breathing again, and the galaxy that buried them was about to remember why it once feared their name. As the last lights of the vault spread across the planet, Xilen whispered quietly, "What have we done?" Far below, Elara Grant clenched her fist and stared up toward the stars, her voice cold and certain. "We were never gone," she said. "We were waiting." The Orion hung above the blue-gray clouds of Earth, silent and trembling. Below, the planet pulsed with light, thousands of lines spreading like veins across continents, forming vast networks of awakening power. Commander Xilen stared at the glowing world through the viewport, his scales reflecting the storm's flicker. "Status," he demanded. Luria's voice shook. "Surface energy output increasing exponentially. It's activating global systems. Satellites, bunkers, power grids, everything that's still functional," Harl added. "Multiple signals detected, at least 50 other vaults coming online across the planet." Xilen's jaw tightened. "Humans, they planned this." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Commander," Lurea said, "the Dominion Council will destroy us if they find out we entered the Sol system." Xilen's voice was low. "If what's happening down there is what I think it is, the Dominion won't have a choice. They'll come here anyway, to finish what they started." Down on Earth, deep beneath the ruins of New York, Commander Elara Grant stood in the vault chamber surrounded by glowing machinery. She moved slowly, every breath heavy with the weight of centuries. The air smelled of metal and ozone. Sentinel's hologram floated beside her. "Cryosequence reactivation complete," it reported. "Vaults 3 through 17 are now online. Estimated total awakenings 42,000 humans." Ilara's expression was unreadable. "How many survived?" "Less than 1% of the original population." She looked down, her fingers brushing the cold metal of a pod beside her. "Still, it's enough." Sentinel's tone lowered. "The Dominion ship above. Its presence is a problem." "Then we deal with it," Elara said. "But first I need to understand how much time has passed." 1,012 years, Commander. Humanity's war ended in fire. The Dominion erased every record of your existence." Elara exhaled slowly, her eyes burning with memory. "Then we were betrayed." "Yes," Sentinel replied. "And you have been waiting ever since." Back on the Orion, Xilen watched as waves of static filled the ship's monitors. "They're transmitting again," Harl said. "Not an attack signal, communication." "Open channel," Xilen ordered. The speakers crackled. Then a human voice filled the bridge, calm, steady, and cold. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Elara Grant of the Earth Defense Forces." "Identify yourself." The crew froze. Xilen stepped forward. "This is Commander Xilen of the Arkan Dominion exploratory vessel Orion. We found your signal by accident." There was silence on the other end, then a quiet, deliberate tone. "The Arkan Dominion," she repeated. "So it's true. You still exist. You know of us?" Xilen asked carefully. "I fought your kind," Elara replied. "You led the extermination fleet. You burned our skies." Xilen's chest tightened. "That war was 10 centuries ago. None of us were alive. But your flag still flies," she said coldly. "And your empire still thrives on our ashes." Xilen hesitated. He wanted to respond, but the comms cut off abruptly. "She ended the link," Lurea said. "Commander, her systems are scanning us, deep scans invasive." "Block it," Xilen ordered. Do not respond with hostility. Too late, Hal warned. She's deploying something. On the view screen, several old satellites orbiting Earth flickered to life. Their cores glowed blue, forming a ring around the planet. Those are ancient defense systems, Larea gasped. Impossible, they should be dust. Not anymore, Zealand said grimly. They're locking on. Alarms blared. We're being targeted, Hal shouted. Energy beams charging. Hold position, Zealand commanded. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be gone. The defense satellites powered down a moment later. A voice came back through the comms. You're not our enemy yet, Alara said. But if you're here to finish what your ancestors started, I will destroy you. I came here to learn the truth, Zealand said. Nothing more. Then you'll have it. The transmission cut again. Down in the vault, Alara turned to Sentinel. Begin awakening command for all active vaults across the system. Confirmed. Mars, Titan, Europa, all colonies responding. Awakening sequence initiated. Lights flickered in orbit around Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, long-dead facilities coming back to life. Humanity was returning to the solar system, one cryopod at a time. The Dominion will sense this, Sentinel warned. They will come in force. Let them, Alara said. This time we'll be ready. On the Orion, the crew watched in disbelief as sensors detected signals from across the solar system. Commander, Hal said, multiple awakenings confirmed. Entire human colonies reactivating. Power readings rising in Mars orbit. Lurea's voice shook. Sir, if humans are really coming back, what will they do? Zealand didn't answer immediately. He looked at the planet below, remembering the words of the voice that haunted their ship earlier. You left us here. They'll do what they always did, he said finally. They'll fight. A sudden alert broke through the quiet. Incoming transmission from Dominion Command, Hal said. They've detected our position. Zealand's blood ran cold. How? Unknown, but they're not happy. They've ordered immediate withdrawal. Reinforcements are already on the way. Zealand stared at the glowing world below. No, he said softly. We're staying. The crew turned toward him in shock. Sir, if we stay, they'll brand us as traitors. Then so be it, Zealand replied. If we run, the Dominion will destroy this planet before the humans can rise again. We're the only ones who can warn them. Below in the vault, Sentinel's sensors detected the approaching Dominion fleet. Multiple warp signatures entering the system, it said. Dozens of ships heavily armed. Ilara's expression hardened. So they come to finish the job. What are your orders? Activate planetary defense grid. All weapons online. Commander, your forces are not yet ready. Neither are theirs. The vault rumbled as massive underground cannons reactivated, their barrels rising through the crust, hidden beneath forests and oceans. The ground itself seemed to awaken. In orbit, the Orion shook as it detected the power surge. She's raising defenses, Lurea shouted. Planetary weapons coming online. Good, Zealand said. She'll need them. The Dominion fleet appeared, massive ships shaped like black knives cutting through the void. They formed a blockade around Earth. A voice boomed through the comms. This is Admiral Korvek of the Dominion Council. The Sol system is under Dominion quarantine. Any life forms within will be purged. Zealand's eyes narrowed. They're going to wipe her out. What do we do? Harl asked. We stand with her, Zealand said. She's not the monster they told us about. The monsters are up there. The first Dominion battleships fired. Blue plasma beams streaked toward Earth. But before they could hit, they vanished, intercepted by invisible shields that shimmered across the atmosphere. Shields active, Sentinel reported. Human defense network fully operational. Ilara stood beneath the flickering lights of the vault and whispered, They think we're broken. She raised her hand toward the ceiling. Show them we're not. Across the planet, ancient human war machines rose from the ground. Massive towers, drones, orbital cannons, all roaring back to life after 1,000 years of silence. From orbit, Zealand watched as Earth lit up like a sun. By the stars, Lura whispered. They're waking the planet itself. No, Zealand said quietly, eyes wide. They're waking the war. The war began again in silence. No music, no speeches, just the cold hum of weapons charging after 1,000 years of stillness. Above the clouds, the Dominion fleet unleashed its fury, waves of plasma cutting through orbit. Below, Earth answered, Massive energy beams shot upward from hidden bunkers, carving through the void like fire. Whole Dominion cruisers disintegrated in seconds. From the command vault deep beneath the old city, Commander Elara Grant watched the battle through shifting holograms. "Defense grid holding," Sentinel reported. "But power reserves are dropping. We cannot sustain this forever." Elara's gaze was steel. "We don't need forever. Just long enough." "For what?" Sentinel asked. "For them to hear us," she gestured to a console. "Rebuild the deep-range transmitter. We're sending a return signal." "To who?" "Everyone who's left. On the Orion alarms blared." The ship rocked violently, shields flaring as debris from the battle rained across orbit. "Commander, 2 Dominion destroyers are moving to flank us!" Harl shouted. Erdlin's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold course. Target their engines, not their cores." Lurea hesitated. "Sir, if we don't strike first, they'll do it." Plasma bolts ripped across space. The Orion's weapons flared to life, striking the Dominion destroyer's flanks. One spun out of control, burning into Earth's atmosphere like a dying star. "Direct hit!" Harl yelled. "The other is retreating." "Good," Xylan said. "We're not here to win. We're here to buy them time." "Commander," Lurea said quietly, "why are you helping them?" "They're human." Xylan's eyes darkened. "Because they were us once. Before the Dominion became what it is." The ship trembled again. "Incoming message," Harl said. "It's from the planet." The screen flickered, showing Elara's face, holographic, pale but fierce. "Dominion ship," she said. "You stayed," Zealand nodded. "You're not our enemy." "Then prove it," she said. "A signal is coming from Mars, one of our colonies. It's been jammed by the Dominion fleet. If you can clear the interference, we can reach the rest of the system." Xylan turned to his crew. "You heard her. Redirect all power to comm relays. Cut the Dominion's field. That will make us visible to the entire armada," Luria warned. "Then we'll make it worth it," Xylan replied. The Orion dove between 2 Dominion battleships, its engines screaming. Plasma bursts tore past them. "Hold steady," he shouted. "Target their jammer arrays. Fire." The shot hit dead on. The Dominion ship exploded, its debris scattering through the void. "Signal clear," Harl yelled. "She can transmit now." On Earth, Elara slammed her hand onto the console. "Send it." A burst of golden light surged through the transmission core. Across the solar system, old human colonies flickered to life. Titan, Mars, Europa, each receiving the same message. Earth is awake. In underground shelters, cryopods opened. In silent cities, automated defenses roared back to life. Across the black, 1,000 voices began to whisper again. Humanity was returning. Sentinel's tone shifted. Incoming responses from multiple colonies. "They're alive." Elara smiled for the first time in centuries. "Patch them through." A chorus of human voices filled the chamber, ragged, shocked, emotional. "This is Captain Armin Vale of the Mars Garrison." "Earth, is that really you?" "It's us," Elara said softly. "We survived. We're coming back." On the Orion, Xylan listened to the open comms. Every word felt like thunder through his chest. "They're answering," Lurea whispered. "They're everywhere." "They never died," Xylan said. "They just waited." But hope didn't last long. Their shadow fell across the fleet, a Dominion dreadnought larger than any they had seen before. "The Obsidian Crown," Harl breathed. "Flagship of the High Council." Its voice filled every frequency. "This is Admiral Korvek. Cease transmission or face extermination." The comms went silent. Elara's jaw tightened. "They never change." She looked to Sentinel. "Can the orbital weapons reach that dreadnought?" "Negative." "Out of range," she exhaled slowly. "Then we change the range." "Commander?" "Prepare the Ascension cannon." Sentinel hesitated. "That weapon was banned even before the fall." "So was extinction," she said. High above, in the wreckage-filled void, the Earth's magnetic field began to twist. Energy gathered across the planet's equator, forming a storm of light. The Dominion fleet stopped firing. Sensors screamed warnings. "What is that?" Luria shouted. "Something old," Xylan said quietly. "Something human." The storm erupted. A single beam of white energy shot from Earth's surface, piercing the clouds, slicing through the void like divine judgment. It struck the Obsidian Crown dead center. The dreadnought shuddered. its armor melting away as gravity tore it apart. The explosion lit the darkness for miles. Target neutralized, Sentinel reported. Power reserves, 2%. Shut it down, Ilara said. Let them know we can still bite. In orbit, the Dominion fleet wavered. Command signals broke apart. Some ships turned tail and fled. Others stayed, confused. They're scattering, Harl cried. We did it. Not yet, Zillan said. The Dominion will regroup. They always do. Then what's the plan? Lura asked. Xylan looked toward Earth, glowing with strange, fierce light. We finish what they started 1,000 years ago. We end this war not with destruction, but with truth. Truth? She echoed. About what? About what really happened, he said. About who betrayed who. Down below, Ilara stood among flickering screens. Signal to all colonies, she ordered. Humanity is awake, but before we rebuild, we must remember. Sentinel's voice was calm. What message shall I encode, Commander? She stared into the holographic flames of the fallen Dominion ship. Tell them, she said softly, we are not the monsters they said we were. On the Orion, Xylan received the broadcast. It wasn't just a message, it was history unsealed. Images flooded the ship's systems, humans fighting side by side with Archons long ago, before the Dominion's rise. The two species had once been allies, until the Dominion turned on them both. The lie had lasted 1,000 years. Commander, Lurea whispered, they were our allies. And the Dominion buried it, Xylan said. They erased everything. His voice turned cold. But now the past is back. Outside, the battlefield burned quietly in orbit, debris drifting through the light of dawn. Earth's signal pulsed once more across the stars, a beacon calling to anyone who could hear it. Humanity had returned, and they remembered everything. The calm after the storm lasted barely an hour. Above the wounded planet, silence gave way to chaos. The Dominion's second wave arrived, bigger, colder, more ruthless. Over 100 warships emerged from warp, their black hulls blotting out the stars. The Orion shook as its sensors overloaded. Incoming vessels, identification confirmed, Harl cried. It's the Dominion High Fleet. Lurea's voice trembled. They're deploying planet killers. Xylan's claws dug into the railing. All power to shields. Maintain position between them and Earth. Sir, that's suicide, Harl shouted. Then we die with purpose, Xylan said. On the planet's surface, Commander Ilara Grant stood in the command vault, her hands shaking as she stared at the skies above through the hollow display. They're not stopping, Sentinel said. They intend full planetary sterilization. Then they'll find we're not so easy to erase, she muttered. Activate the Ghost Network. Warning, Sentinel replied. That protocol has never been tested. It could destroy our own systems. So could extinction, Ilara shot back. The vault lights dimmed as countless dormant human satellites awakened, their AI cores linking together into one consciousness. Across the system, dead ships and derelict stations flickered to life, their memories reconnecting. Humanity's ghosts were coming online. Network stable, Sentinel said. They're ready for your command. Then we fight in every shadow they can't see, Ilara whispered. Above the atmosphere, the Dominion fleet began its bombardment. Gigantic plasma lances tore through the clouds, shattering ancient cities. Fire rained across continents. Impact across North America, Sentinel reported. Civilian vaults holding, losses minimal. Minimal isn't good enough, Ilara said. Redirect all power from inactive vaults to the defense grid. No more hiding. On the Orion, Xylan watched the devastation in horror. They're burning the surface, Harl shouted. We can't stop that many ships. No, Xylan said, but we can make them bleed for it. How? Lurea demanded. Xylan turned to her, eyes blazing. We hit their command carrier. The crew went silent. The Obsidian Crown may be gone, but the High Fleet has a new flagship, the Vigilant Star. Destroy it, and the Dominion will lose control of the swarm. That's suicide, Harl whispered. Yes, Xylan said, so let's make it worth dying for. He opened a comm link to Earth. Commander Grant, I need your help. Her voice came through the static, strained but firm. You'll have it. What do you need? A distraction. Draw their attention to the surface. I'll go for the heart. Ilara smiled grimly. Consider it done. She turned to Sentinel. Target the largest fleet cluster. Fire everything. Understood. The skies above Earth lit up again, a storm of light and fury. Plasma beams and rail slugs launched upward in synchronized bursts, forcing Dominion ships to shift formation. Amid the chaos, the Orion broke through the blockade, diving straight toward the vigilant star. "Shields failing!" Lurea yelled. "Reactor overheating!" "Hold course," Xylan barked. "Target their central core." The Dominion's flagship loomed ahead, massive as a continent, its hull pulsing with dark energy. "Fire!" he shouted. The Orion's cannons erupted, tearing through the enemy's armor. Explosions rippled along the dreadnought's spine, but the retaliation was instant. A blinding blast struck the Orion, tearing away half its hull. Consoles exploded. Smoke filled the bridge. Alarms screamed. "We've lost engines," Harl coughed. "We're dead in space." "Not yet," Xylan rasped. "Reroute life support to the main gun." "That will kill us! Do it!" The crew obeyed. The ship's core pulsed one last time, light blazing from every seam. "Fire!" Xylan whispered. The final shot hit true, drilling deep into the vigilant star's reactor. The dreadnought convulsed as shockwaves spread outward, consuming it in fire. The explosion ripped through half the fleet, blinding sensors and cutting communications. The Orion spun into the void, crippled and burning. "Commander," Lurea whispered. "We did it." Xylan smiled weakly. Then it was worth it. The bridge lights flickered and died. Down below, on Earth, Sentinel confirmed the impossible. Dominion command carrier destroyed. Enemy fleet in disarray. Ilara clenched her fists. "Signal the colonies. Now's our chance." "Transmitting rally beacon," Sentinel said. Across the solar system, human warships, repaired and reactivated, emerged from hiding. Fleets rose from Titan's methane seas, from the caverns of Europa, from Mars's red deserts. They moved as one. "Human fleet incoming," Sentinel announced. "ETA, 5 minutes," Ilara nodded. "Let's end this." The Dominions, scattered forces, tried to regroup, but they were met by a fury they hadn't seen in a millennium. Humanity's ships, sleek and ancient, cut through their ranks like blades of vengeance. The void became fire. In orbit, a new signal echoed, a beacon pulsing from the wreckage of the Orion. "Commander Grant," Sentinel said. "Incoming message." "It's the Archon ship." Ilara's breath caught. "Put it through." The hologram flickered, showing Xylan's bloodied face. The bridge behind him was in ruins. "Did it work?" he asked. "It worked," Ilara said softly. "You destroyed their command." He smiled faintly. "Then maybe there's hope after all." "Hold on, we'll bring you in," she said. Xylan shook his head. "No time, the core's collapsing." "Xylan, listen," he said. "The Dominion lied to all of us. But today, we changed that. Don't let it end here." His image flickered. "Tell your people, we're sorry." The connection cut. Moments later, the Orion exploded silently, its light fading into the cold. Ilara stood motionless. Sentinel spoke quietly. "Enemy fleet retreating. The battle is ours." But victory felt hollow. "Record his name," Ilara said. "Commander Xylan of the Orion, ally of humanity." "Recorded," Sentinel replied. "What are your orders?" Ilara looked up at the burning sky. "We rebuild," she said. "Not just the world, but what was lost." High above, the Dominion's remnants flared into deep space, carrying word of their defeat. But deep within their data archives, one final order glowed: reinforcements en route. Total annihilation authorized. The war wasn't over, it had only just begun.